Good morning, family. It's tea time with Pastor T. And this week we've been talking about courage. The courage to identify what we need, the courage to act, the courage to move forward. This morning I want to talk about the courage to fight for what you need to fight for. And sometimes fighting doesn't always look the way we think it needs to look. And that's why I love the story of Gideon. The story of Gideon is such a great story because in this story, Gideon is getting prepared to go into battle. And he starts with 22,000 men. And God tells Gideon that there were too many men. He wanted to make sure that Israel didn't take the credit for the victory. And so he tells Gideon to send home all of the men who were afraid. And 10,000 men end up leaving. And then he gives Gideon's army another test and sends them to the river. And depending on how they drank from the river, he would have to send more men home. So what started out at 22,000 ended at 300 men. 300 men that God had chosen to fight thousands of men. And I'm sure Gideon thought, wait a minute, how are we going to do this? 300 against thousands upon thousands of men? And it's interesting because sometimes fighting for what we need to fight for doesn't always look the way we think it needs to look. Staying in the game doesn't always look the way we think it's going to look. Staying in faith is sometimes a little difficult when it looks like the odds are stacked against us. But the story is so amazing. I want to read to you Judges 7:22, and it says, when the 300 trumpets were blown, the Lord caused all the men in the enemy camp to start fighting one another. They attacked one another with their swords. And Gideon was able to have victory. Sometimes fighting means to keep going on. It means to continue doing what God is asking you to do, even though at that moment it seems like the cards are stacked against you. See, Gideon's men didn't even have to fight. God caused there to be confusion among the enemy, and they fought themselves. So I want you to be encouraged this morning to stay in faith, to stay in the game. Whatever it is that your challenges are this morning, I want you to know that as long as you continue to do what God is asking you to do, the victory will be yours, and all the glory will be His. So you don't have to stress out. Just continue to be faithful to the Lord. I love you, and I pray that today you have the courage to continue on in the fight. I love you, and God bless you.